Fox 44 presents Veterans Voices, honoring those who served.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us for our 2020 Veteran Voices special. I'm Adam Hooper. Tonight's focus is on a man from North Texas, born to poor farmers, forced to drop out of school in the 5th grade, but he would become one of the greatest soldiers the nation has ever seen. During World War II, he received the Army's highest decorations and awards, and his life would be a story out of Hollywood. He'd become well known as the true embodiment of the American fighting spirit and true American hero. His name, Audie Murphy. And for the next half hour, we'll tell you about his life, bravery, and the legacy he left behind for soldiers in Texas and all of America. Fox 44's Gary Ainsworth, he joins us in the studio right now. Gary, he's an Army veteran and native Texan as well, and he brings us the life of Audie Murphy told from a veteran's voice. Gary, there's so much about Audie Murphy's life that is just truly amazing. It's almost hard to believe.
You know, Adam, it is. Audie Murphy's bravery and heroism during World War II made him the most decorated soldier of the war and a true American hero. But to answer your question, if you look at his childhood, it's not really hard to understand why he was an exceptional soldier. And to do that, we have to travel north about 3 hours to Kingston, Texas, and the farmland of Hunt County. The childhood of Audie Murphy is a story of struggle and a story of loss and abandonment. Audie Murphy was born northeast of Dallas in the tiny community of Kingston to parents making their living working the cotton fields of Hunt County.
For those that don't know, Hunt County is a very tiny county. You know, we only have like 80,000 people, a little bit more. And to have somebody like Audie coming from here in the middle of Texas and who started out on with very humble beginnings. I mean, they were a sharecropping family and very, very poor.
When Audie was 14, his father abandoned the family, and a few years later, pneumonia would take his mother. Dr. David Smith authored the biography of Audie Murphy, The Price of Valor. He says no matter how hard life was for him, Audie's primary focus was always for those he cared about.
He had an older sister, and she was a great, support to him, but he felt very responsible for his younger siblings, especially 3 that had gone into an orphanage.
He helped go hunting to get food for the dinner table. He helped look after his younger brothers and sisters.
Dr. Smith says the combination of everything in his life prior to World War II created the foundation of who he would become.
He was shaped by his boyhood during the Depression. He was shaped by the insecurity of life in Hunt County. You know, he was shaped by the fact that his father ran off. He was shaped by the fact that he had to look out for his younger siblings.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan.
As soon as the war broke out, he was, and America got involved, he was like, that's what I want to do, but he wasn't old enough.
But not one to be stopped, Audie created a fake birth certificate, making him 1 year older, and he tried again.
And he managed to get in. The Army finally took him in after the Marines turned him down.
Audie Murphy had achieved his dream of military service and did his basic training not far from home at Camp Walters, Texas, more training at Fort George G. Meade, Maryland, and finally deployment.
He was deployed to North Africa in a replacement battalion, and he didn't see any action in North Africa except guarding German prisoners, which he didn't want to do. You know, he wanted to see the action. And he first saw action when he came ashore in Sicily. The beach was pretty clear, but this was the first time he had seen a battlefield, and he thought it was just incredible. I mean, bad.
But his entry into the war fell far from what he expected, and even farther from what he wanted. Now, Audie Murphy would later describe his time in Sicily as boring and uneventful, but his desire to see action against the Axis powers would soon be fulfilled. The 3rd Infantry Division was about to invade mainland Italy.
Thank you, Gary. Coming up, Audie Murphy's actions in combat and his meteoric rise through the ranks as a leader, earning 38 awards for valor, bravery, including the United States military's highest honor.
When pests are a problem, call Hero Pest Control. Family owned and operated, Hero Pest Control is dedicated to improving our community and impacting lives. Hero Pest Control offers a Hometown Heroes Give Back program to military, first responders, educators, and ministry professionals. Hometown Heroes receives a 10% discount for all services, residential and commercial, rodent and wildlife control, and effective, efficient termite services. Hero Pest Control has year-round protection from pests with the best service at the best price. From the attic to the crawl, Hero does it all.
Stonehaven Dental is proud to serve Harker Heights with the finest dental and orthodontic care.
Hi, this is Dr. Bocut. Here at Stonehaven, we know that it can be scary going to the dentist. For that reason, we promise to work tirelessly to help you feel comfortable here at the dentist. We want you to feel like you're a part of our family. So sit back, relax, and let us help you achieve your dental goals together.
Thank you, Stonehaven, for making my smile beautiful again.
Call Stonehaven Harker Heights today or visit us on our website.
We are the first line, out on the front lines, working together day and night. And we're doing what we've got to do, knowing love will pull us through. And we're stronger, stronger together. We rise up in our time of need. We're local, strong, and stand with our
Whoa! Dad, did you check with Mike?
Gotta check with Mike. Let's go to the park.
Before you go, did you check with Mike?
When you want your weather forecast right, trust Mike. Mike LaPointe and Emily Kay are certified most accurate in the heart of Texas and Brazos Valley. So tune in to Fox 44 News, on air and online for all your weather updates. They are the best. Mike is right.
Fox 44 presents Veterans Voices, honoring those who served.
Welcome back to our Veterans Voices special and the story of World War II hero Audie Murphy. The U.S. Army philosophy for each soldier is made up of 7 core values: loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and courage. From his arrival on the beaches of Sicily, everything Audie Murphy did while wearing the uniform surpassed the expectations of those core values. His actions would have a profound effect on everyone around him and above him. We now welcome back in Fox 44's Gary Ainsworth in the studio with more about the story of Audie Murphy's actions in combat against the Axis powers. Hey, Gary.
Adam, it all started shortly after his boots touched the sands of the Sicilian beaches. It's simply the prologue to his future actions of bravery and heroism. Private Audie Murphy would finally get a taste of combat, and everyone around him would soon learn he was really good at it.
Coming ashore in Sicily, he didn't come ashore with the first wave. He came ashore later that morning. The first wave came across about 6 a.m. He came ill about 10 a.m. The beach was pretty clear, but this was the first time he had seen a battlefield. And he thought it was just incredible. I mean, bad.
Sicily and Italy would show Audie Murphy the horrors of war. And even though he'd become surrounded by dead soldiers from both sides, Murphy developed a personal plan of action for himself to use in every battle he would encounter throughout the war.
He had this sense of, this is what I have to do next, and I'm going to do this, and nothing else is going to matter until I get this next step done.
While fighting in the western mountains of Italy, Murphy contracted malaria. Yet despite such setbacks, he continually distinguished himself in battle. Between his landing in Sicily and his arrival into France, he'd earned almost every combat medal the Army had, as well as advancing from private to second lieutenant by the end of 1944.
Going from private to second lieutenant in a period of months happens only if everybody above you is being killed. You know, and he proves himself time and time again, and he proves his loyalty to his unit.
However, his greatest feat had yet to come. Murphy's daring exploits seem almost like a video game storyline. While there are no official records of his confirmed kills, that number is said to be higher than 200. His most heralded act of courage occurred in January 1945, near the French town of Holtzwihr, while under a heavy attack from the Germans. More than a dozen witnesses confirmed that Lieutenant Audie Murphy climbed on top of a burning M10 tank destroyer and, using its .50 caliber machine gun, held off an entire German infantry company as it desperately tried to take him out. For an hour, he held off the enemy force single-handedly, fighting against impossible odds. Even after reaching safety, he refused to be evacuated from the field and instead rallied his men in a counterattack that drove the Germans back. His actions that day would earn him the United States military's highest award, the Medal of Honor, solidifying Second Lieutenant Audie Murphy as World War II's most decorated soldier and a true American hero. By the end of World War II, Lieutenant Audie Murphy's actions in combat made his name known to every American, and they would put his face on the cover of America's most famous publication at the time, Life magazine.
Amazing stories. Thank you, Gary. Coming up, after heroics and bravery in combat during World War II, Audie Murphy comes home and goes from war hero to movie star.
When pests are a problem, call Hero Pest Control. Family owned and operated, Hero Pest Control is dedicated to improving our community and impacting lives. Hero Pest Control offers a Hometown Heroes Give Back program to military, first responders, educators, and ministry professionals. Hometown Heroes receives a 10% discount for all services, residential and commercial, rodent and wildlife control, and effective, efficient termite services. Hero Pest Control has year-round protection from pests with the best service at the best price. From the attic to the crawl, Hero does it all.
Stripes or designs,
scarf or face mask,
veil or MCC or TSTC,
bandana or handkerchief.
Whatever face covering you have, wear it when you're in public. Protect yourself and protect others.
Be a good neighbor and friend.
By wearing a face covering.
Together, we can slow the spread of COVID-19 and keep us all Waco safe.
First, they said cigarettes were safe. We know how that turned out. Now, they say they didn't market e-cigarettes to teens. Fact, more than 1 in 4 high school students are vaping, and 80% say their first e-cigarette was flavored. Vaping is harmful to developing brains. The reason we think vaping is safe? Marketing. Same lies, different day. Tell Big Vape to quit lying.
Fox 44 presents Veterans Voices, honoring those who served.
Welcome back. Audie Murphy's accomplishments in World War II had made him an American hero, and he returned from the war to a hero's welcome, parades and gatherings, all to recognize what he had done in combat. His life story of an underdog achieving the impossible in combat and returning home to tell the tale was something only Hollywood could have dreamed up. As you guessed it, Fox 44's Gary Ainsworth, he joins us again for the next chapter in this soldier's unbelievable story. Gary, it's hard to imagine everything he'd overcome so far in his life. It's almost like a movie, isn't it?
You know, Adam, it's funny you say it that way. When he came home from war, he spent months touring from city to city on the Army's behalf, selling war bonds and other things like that. But he admitted to himself that he wasn't sure what he'd be doing next in his life. But it was his picture on the cover of Life magazine, America's #1 publication at the time, that prompted a phone call from movie star James Cagney himself. When that began the next chapter of his life, where else? Hollywood. World War II ended in June of 1945. For Lieutenant Audie Murphy, the arrival home came with the fanfare of a hero, but he would later admit he was unsure of what coming home meant to him, and it scared him.
Well, coming home again, I started to think about home for a change, which we didn't dare think of before, because, as you know, you live from day to day, minute to minute in most cases. And suddenly I was a little frightened. Strange as it might seem, I didn't know what I'd do when I got home, and I suddenly felt just a little empty inside and a little lonely about the whole thing. Although I was very happy the war was over, I suddenly didn't feel that I had a home.
But why would a man so heavily recognized for his bravery in combat be afraid of coming home?
All of the actions that he took that transformed him into a hero made it largely unlikely that he could live a normal life after that.
But his photo on the cover of Life magazine would open the doors to Tinseltown.
He wants to do whatever he can to move forward with his life, but still take care of his family, his siblings. And that's why he decides to go to Hollywood to try his hand at acting when James Cagney sees his picture.
He ended up meeting James Cagney, of all people, and he was like, you know what, you kind of have a presence. Why don't you come out to Hollywood and see what happens? So he's like, well, why not?
And just like his childhood and Army career, Hollywood didn't start off with red carpets and the movie star treatment.
He had a really hard time breaking into the business, which probably almost everybody does. And he was living on somebody's couch.
For what seemed to be the first time in his life, Audie Murphy was at the brink of giving up.
The next thing you know, he's the star in movies. A lot of the Westerns were really common.
Audie Murphy starred in more than 40 feature films, such as The Red Badge of Courage, No Name on the Bullet, and
of course, the most famous movie he's ever done is To Hell and Back. That's the movie of his life.
Imagine Hollywood telling you that they wanted to make a movie of your life, which is incredible on its own, but then also wanting you to star in the film as you.
We want you to play you, and we're going to subject you to all the same scenes and all the same terrors, you know, as best we can replicate it.
The film, To Hell and Back, was based off Audie Murphy's autobiography. It was a critical hit and was arguably the best film of his acting career. But reliving moments in his wartime past were potentially traumatizing.
He dealt with the potential trauma of filming To Hell and Back by getting in the weeds with all the details.
And it was those details that would be the tipping point in his personal life and his struggles with the war's mental toll. Now, Hollywood was a bright point in Audie Murphy's life, but behind the simple smile and the memories and the horrors of war still remained, long after the fighting was over.
Thank you, Gary. When we come back, Audie Murphy goes against the norm and speaks out about mental health concerns coming from his experiences during World War II. Stay with us.
Stonehaven Dental is proud to serve Harker Heights with the finest dental and orthodontic care.
Hi, this is Dr. Bocut. Here at Stonehaven, we know that it can be scary going to the dentist. For that reason, we promise to work tirelessly to help you feel comfortable here at the dentist. We want you to feel like you're a part of our family. So sit back, relax, and let us help you achieve your dental goals together.
Thank you, Stonehaven, for making my smile beautiful again.
Call Stonehaven Harker Heights today or visit us on our website.
When pests are a problem, call Hero Pest Control. Family owned and operated, Hero Pest Control is dedicated to improving our community and impacting lives. Hero Pest Control offers a Hometown Heroes Give Back program to military, first responders, educators, and ministry professionals. Hometown Heroes receives a 10% discount for all services, residential and commercial, rodent and wildlife control, and effective, efficient termite services. Hero Pest Control has year-round protection from pests with the best service at the best price. From the attic to the crawl, Hero does it all.
It's our faith that will guide us through this difficult time.
We've seen Central Texans come together like never before.
Helping each other, feeding each other,
caring for each other.
Now is not the time to slow down.
We must continue to protect each other. Wear your face covering
when you're at the store, at church, and conducting business.
Wear a face covering to protect your brothers and sisters.
Together we can slow the spread of COVID-19
and keep us all safe.
Dr. Oz here. There's another epidemic in America, and it's called diabetes. 34 million Americans have the disease. Millions more have prediabetes, and numbers just keep going up. COVID-19 is posing special risks to those trying to manage their disease. There are simple steps you can take every day. Minimize contacts with others. Maximize a healthy lifestyle. Know your numbers and stay in touch with your doctor. Do all that, and you give yourself the best chance to stay healthy and strong.
Fox 44 presents Veterans Voices, honoring those who served.
Welcome back. The Hollywood career of Audie Murphy was on the surface a successful and happy time for the war hero. However, the intense memories of combat haunted him nightly. Audie knew something was wrong. He just didn't know how to approach the problem. In World War I, it was called shell shock. In World War II, battle fatigue. Today, it's what we know to be post-traumatic stress disorder. Joining us once again is Fox 44's Gary Ainsworth with Audie Murphy's struggles, Gary, with PTSD. How was he among the first to speak out loud about it, and what made Audie Murphy brave enough to speak out about it? Did anyone listen?
Well, Adam, one thing's for sure. The U.S. Army, as well as the other branches, they really do a great job of preparing all of their service members for combat. But when it comes to helping them heal mentally from what they experienced during that combat, there's a lot of more work that needs to be done. When Audie Murphy came home from World War II, there was a really negative view on anyone showing signs of PTSD and they were treated as weak or fragile. But as a documented war hero and then a movie star, Audie wasn't afraid to speak out. Our military has done exceptionally well in training its service members how to engage in combat, battle tactics, and mission planning. But as little as 30 years ago, military leaders believed PTSD symptoms only occurred in the weak-minded, and the U.S. military buried its head in the sand because...
And the assumption was that once you get out of that environment, the effects of it go away. Once you get out of combat, once you're removed from it, once you're in the, in the rear and you're relaxing in a bathtub or whatever, then all the effects of it just, dissipate.
We now know this ideology was far from true, and Audie Murphy knew it as well. He was living with the never-ending nightmare that is PTSD.
And he knew it wasn't true, and he knew that everything that people were telling him about, get over it, get over it, get over it, he knew that was not going to work, and he knew it wasn't true. But he gamely sort of went along with it because he was damaged inside.
By 1961, Audie's movie career had slowed, and his PTSD symptoms worsened. He felt he had been let down by the Army.
He said that the Army did a better job of deprogramming its combat dogs than its soldiers.
Audie Murphy would travel throughout the nation, visiting veterans' hospitals and retirement homes, and he would talk to them about their struggles with post-combat emotional and mental issues, doing what he could to make others aware that it was real, and it didn't just go away.
This was in a day and time when people did not talk about PTSD, and he did, and that just was unheard of back then.
Audie Murphy's combat time in World War II was just over 3 years, but those years left permanent scars from the memories of the battlefields on which he fought and the friends that never came home.
Those 3 years had seemed much longer than they really were, and I saw a lot of good men come and go, and a lot of them, as we know, especially and remember on this day, are still there.
In an effort to draw attention to the problems of the returning Korean War and Vietnam War veterans, Murphy spoke out candidly about his own problems with post-traumatic stress disorder. He called on the government to give increased consideration and study the emotional impact of combat experiences, and then also to extend health care benefits to the war veterans. And as a result of his efforts, legislation introduced by Congressman Olin Teague in 1971, the Audie Murphy Memorial VA Hospital in San Antonio, now a part of the South Texas Veteran Health Care System, was dedicated in 1973.
Amazing. Thank you, Gary. Coming up, Audie Murphy's accomplishments as a soldier and as a man leave behind a lasting legacy for future service members and future Americans. More on the amazing life of Audie Murphy when we return.
Stonehaven Dental is proud to serve Harker Heights with the finest dental and orthodontic care.
Hi, this is Dr. Bocat. Here at Stonehaven, we know that it can be scary going to the dentist. For that reason, we promise to work tirelessly to help you feel comfortable here at the dentist. We want you to feel like you're a part of our family. So sit back, relax, and let us help you achieve your dental goals together.
Thank you, Stonehaven, for making my smile beautiful again.
Call Stonehaven Harker Heights today or visit us on our website.
We think our father, James Anderson, should be named father of Mr. Wilson.
Eat it, please. Don't be fond with me.
Here's Johnny.
Antenna TV, Central Texas. TV how it was meant to be. Channels 44.3 and 28.3.
In Texas, small businesses are our moms, our uncles, our friends, their family, and they're trying to get back on their feet again. We can help. Let's stand tall for small. Our small businesses are trying to make it, but they won't unless we make it our collective responsibility to wear a mask. This is about purpose, not politics. Let purpose rule. Wear a mask and stand tall for small.
Fox 44 presents Veterans Voices, honoring those who served.
Welcome back. By the age of 37, Audie Leon Murphy had been a war hero, a movie star, a songwriter, and a poet. And during the mid-60s, he used his fame to advocate for the needs of combat veterans. Gary Ainsworth joins us in the studio for the final chapter of Audie Murphy's life. Hey, Gary.
Adam, Audie Murphy's post-Hollywood life was filled with a lot of ups and downs. His personal battles with PTSD and depression, Poor investments and business failures left him in financial disorder. Audie's story ended on May 28, 1971, while on a business trip to Martinsville, Virginia, when severe weather and blinding fog caused his small private plane to crash just outside of Roanoke, Virginia. The crash killed him and everyone else on board, and America's hero was gone. 8 days later, Audie Murphy was buried at Arlington National Cemetery with full military honors. Only the gravesite of President John F. Kennedy receives more visitors every year. Now, the headstones of the Medal of Honor recipients buried at Arlington National Cemetery are normally decorated in gold leaf. Now, Murphy had previously requested that his stone remain plain and inconspicuous, like that of any ordinary soldier. This headstone contains the incorrect birth year of 1924, based on the falsified materials among his military records. Audie Murphy remains a legend among members of the United States Army. While he is well known for his work as an actor in Hollywood, his memory will live on as a true American hero. Gary Ainsworth, Fox 44 News.
Gary, thanks. Audie Murphy left behind a legacy as being America's hero, but he was a native Texan, and as any Texan will tell you, he was our hero first. Audie Murphy was honored with every decoration our nation could award, and in addition, he was honored with the highest military honors from both France and Belgium. And as a native Texan, he was honored by his home state before he even left Europe. The Texas legislature passed a resolution honoring him while he was still there.
The Texas legislature, is falling all over itself to pass Audie Murphy resolutions and praising him, and he was the epitome of a soldier. He was the epitome of American, and a Texan will say, and above all else, he's the epitome of a Texan.
He certainly was. The United States Army's core values of leadership are 7 values each soldier should have at their very core in order to be leaders, whether on the battlefield or in life. From the first day of basic training to the day they take off the uniform for the final time, the core values of loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage are more than just words on a poster or in a book. They are what make a soldier a soldier. And the story of Audie Murphy is the story of a man whose actions in war and in his life afterwards were the real-life personification of those core values. As we wrap up his story tonight, we're going to leave you with a final thought of honoring our men and women in uniform from Audie Murphy himself.
Our country, and most of the free world for that matter, have taken a long step forward in many fields since World War II, especially in the development of weapons, and weapons of mass destruction. And I might add that I've seen some of those weapons tested, and believe me, some of them do stagger the imagination. And that's why I think it's very important that each of us, as we honor our veterans on this day, pledge ourselves to keeping our country strong and to even greater support to all branches of our military services.
What an amazing man. Thank you for joining Fox 44 for this special report. Please check us out on Facebook and Twitter at KWKT Fox 44. There you'll be able to interact with us and post comments or give us some feedback. We definitely want to hear from you. Have a good night.